Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the Perth Sevens final between Fiji and South Africa, a match that promises to be an extremely hard-hitting affair between two great sides on the Sevens circuit. Now, looking through at the starting lineups, they are stacked once more, but starting with Fiji, it is Ioane Temba, Sevu Mothonotangi, Jeremiah Matana, the captain, Taria Vailawa, Natangi Bongi Nasoko, who's been one of the standout young players throughout this competition and in Singapore, Vuiviwa Nadovalo, who just came off a hat-trick in his last game up against the Kiwis, and George Balsi, the last man. And the starting side for South Africa, they have gone with Ryan Oosterhuizen, David Brits, Zane Davis, Sebastian Job, he came off 2 tries in the last game of the semi-finals, Tristan Lades, Shilton van Wyk, and Ricardo James Duarte, who's been in some pretty handy form throughout the Perth Sevens. Now, this game is going to be played in around probably 38, 40 degree temperatures. So the players, they will not want to go deep into this contest. The chance of golden point is high when these two sides play, but it would be absolutely exhausting if they have to go through that process to try and get the win. I will mention we're about 12 minutes away from the start of this contest, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting up a little bit earlier. We've just finished the commentary for the women's match between New Zealand and Australia. The Kiwis able to get themselves the win yet again, but looking through at the way that the standings sit. Now, I've been a little bit more prepared for this final. We have got pop-ups, ladies and gentlemen, something that we haven't had on a few of the other streams. This is the way that this table sits currently for the men's side of things. As you can see, Fiji, they got themselves bronze in Dubai, bronze in Cape Town, and then the gold in Singapore. They currently sit at the top of the bunch with the 52 points. New Zealand just recently finished in 4th, so they'll receive 14 points from this leg of the Sevens, whereas New Zealand, compared to that side up against them, Australia, they get 16 points, the Aussies, from their most recent games. South Africa, though, they won in Cape Town. They finished 4th in Dubai. In fact, they finished 5th in Dubai, I should say, and managing to finish 4th in Singapore. So, if they were able to win this one, theoretically, they wouldn't be able to catch the Australians. Well, sorry, they wouldn't be able to catch the Fijians, but they get very close. In terms of those points, there is still Vancouver and there is still New York City to come for the 6 legs of the Men's Sevens series. So, plenty of ground and plenty of opportunity to still go on and win the title. Why don't you commentate for the 7 series, says Tomu. I don't think they'd have me, to be honest, but I also love doing it with the live chat going at the same time. It just is absolutely incredible having so many people from all around the world tuning in, whether you are watching from South Africa, from Fiji, from Australia, from New Zealand, the UK, all over the place. We've got people watching on these streams. Ahoy H, Fiji sounds powerful in the last few results, says Juan Pierre Bosch. And yeah, we have actually got their most recent games of this competition as well as their recent head-to-heads with South Africa. But for the Fijians, they started off with a great win over the Argentines, 26 points to 10 in their opening contest. Then from there, they were able to beat Spain 26 points to 24. A much closer game. There was actually an opportunity for golden point, but Juan Ramos just missing his kick away to the side. That then resulted in the Fijian 2-point win. These two sides, though, in the final, South Africa and Fiji, they have already played each other in the Perth Sevens. That was in round 3 of their group stage. That is actually the only loss that South Africa have suffered, 20 points to 14 in favour of the Fijians, who came back from being 14-0 down in that matchup, and then the 35-0 over New Zealand in the semi-final. Quite the statement, and as we saw from that bronze final with New Zealand, it was the game that really just kind of disrupted this young New Zealand team and halted their momentum that they had been creating. Looking through at South Africa and what they have done in the group stage, they were able to get the win over Spain in the opening contest, 33 points to 14. The next game up against Argentina, that little bit closer, 19 points to 12. It was actually that second round where a majority of the games that happened for the men's side of things could have easily gone either way and had some golden point opportunities in there too. Third match, 20 points to 14 up against the Fijians, and then their semi-final. It was close at halftime. Then South Africa ran away with it, winning at 28 points to the 12. We have got there who won the women's final. In the end, New Zealand were able to get themselves the victory there over the Australians. So they received the 20 points available. And in second place, the Australians, they receive the 16. How badly do you think the ball gets beaten by England? Probably relatively, I would say. Kiwi lad, you are the best, says Tommy. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. And of course, we are going to be back with more action next week for the Sevens. There is the Division 2 taking place involving sides like Kenya, involving South Africa. We see Germany, Belgium, Canada, all those sides back in action too. And the Fijian Rua, they are starting up next week for Super Rugby, and we'll be covering a few of their games on the channel as well. Let's go Fiji, says Brandon. And Tosafiti says Hiki here. But also, what I'm going to do is show you guys the head-to-head of these two sides. These are all of the times that these teams have played each other on the Seven circuit for 2025-26's season. So as you can see, back in Dubai, in pool stage, it was the victory for the Fijians, 28 points to 10. Ever since then, though, all of the games have been separated by 7 or less. In Cape Town, in the pool stage, it was 24 points to 21 in favour of South Africa. That is the only game that they have beaten Fiji in for this year and season, this season situation that we've got going on. 5-point victory for Fiji in Singapore, and up against them in Perth in the group stage, it was 20 points to 14 in favour of the Fijians. But it just goes to show that these two sides, they can't avoid each other. They're going to play off at least once throughout a regular competition, even though the sides only play 5 games, and you got potential of missing out on a couple of teams facing off with them. Fiji versus South Africa seems to be the certainty that we always get, and it's getting added down here too, because there is a final that is just about to take place between the two sides that will secure the Perth Sevens Championship. Tosaviti says Sarai there. And also we have got there, let's go Fiji, says Brandon. Tosaviti Toso says Atamani. And also proudly South African, but must admit Fiji is on fire, says Denzel. And yeah, that's the thing. I also feel like South Africa have had an extremely great run throughout the last little while. But, like, yeah, they had that one loss to Fiji, but I don't think that defines this series at all for them. Last week in Singapore, they were extremely dangerous. They lost that game to France because they let France get off to a flying start, and then losing that game 12 points to 5. You look through at most of the other games for the South Africans, though, they've led at halftime. And the Fijians, they love a comeback, which is what makes this game so intriguing. It is the comeback kings versus a side that normally just start like a house on fire and keep on going till the final whistle. The Blitzboks will have to play 101% to win this final, says Langford there. And Tosa Toso says Vitorina. Bulla Fiji, let's go, says Nars Williams. And nice, says Kamoi. And there as well. But they are just showing the starting lineups once again, just for anyone who is wondering who is starting in this match. Ioane Temba, he is in the starting lineup alongside Sevo Motunotangi, Jeremiah Matana, Tario Vailawa, Natangi Bungi Nasoko, who I did say was one of the key players for the Fijians here, Vui Viwa Narovalo, and also George Balsi, the last man in the Fijian starting side. Now, there have been a few concerning injuries for Fiji throughout this tournament. Right in the first or second game, they lost Tera Wailangi. Not too long after, they also lost Josefa Talatholo. So if you're talking about physicality, something that normally is the forefront for Fiji, they're missing a couple of their big men. And that is where someone like a David Brits, a Ryan Oosterhuis, and Zane Davids, they'll start to really try and put that pressure on and try and outmuscle this Fijian side. But of course, the Fijians always have the offloads up their sleeve. You can never predict what a Fijian attack is going to look like because they just love throwing that ball around for fun. And you just get that feeling like this is the type of game that if they were going to flourish, it would be in the heat when both sides are just heavily fatigued. Those gaps could open up. But in the starting lineup for South Africa, Ryan Oosterhuis and David Brits and Zane Davids, like I mentioned, the 3 big forwards that the Blitzboks have selected. Sebastian Job is there, coming off 2 tries in his last match. Tristan Lades, Shilton Fundvake, who also scored in the last game, and Ricardo James Duarte, another try scorer from the semi-final. But the Fijian national anthem is now just being sung before we do get underway. Some great impact players for both of these sides off of their bench. Christy Grobelaar has been a real standout for South Africa when it comes to making his way on and changing a game's momentum. Donovan Don, he was one of the standouts in the last competition, but they've decided to use him predominantly as a bench impact player in Perth rather than in Singapore when starting minutes were almost guaranteed for Donovan Don. Off the bench for the Fijians, Tani Vanuakula, the big number one, normally has a bit of an impact on the game. Manueli Moa and also Filippo Bucayaro, another man to keep an eye on. We've got their rugby hitches head up the box in there as well. Yeah, both of these sides would love nothing more than to beat the other at the moment, even though the table doesn't say it. For me, these are the two top sides of the competition. You know, New Zealand, their consistency has let them down, but at the same time, they've secured a few very crucial wins that have boosted them up nicely. But at the end of Perth, more than likely, this will be 1 and 2, and it could be the case at the end of New York City's leg of the Sevens circuit as well. And Fiji will remain top of the ladder no matter what happens. Says Jasmine, that is true, but the gap can be slightly narrowed. As we can see there, Fiji sitting on 52. So theoretically, the lowest that they can be at the end of this tournament would be 68. The highest that South Africa can be is 66. So that is, of course, if South Africa win this game. If South Africa do lose this fixture, the highest that they can be would be, I believe, 62, which is interestingly enough because New Zealand, I believe, received 14 points. Oh, no, in fact, New Zealand may have received 12 from their last game. So that would actually still put South Africa into at least second in the overall standings as we just hear the South African national anthem being sung. We have got there, Fiji has 11 players lining up for the anthem, only 4 on the bench. It starts race here. So the 4 that they have got is Bucayaro, Davida, Tani Vanuakula, and Manueli Moa. We have seen Talatholo and also Tira Wailangi already injured in this competition, which does mean that they've got a couple less options off of their bench to be able to use here. Go Fiji, go, says Apinisai Rabitu. Hopefully I said that correctly. I think I may have messed that up a little bit, so I do apologise there. And also we have got the Hamish, I wish you could speak Fiji. And I kind of wish I could too, because it would be quite a lot easier for some of the commentary. But hopefully we haven't got the names a mile away for some of these Fijian pronunciations. But someone who I am thoroughly looking forward to seeing on the field. I've mentioned him many times. Natangi Bongina Soko, he is a future star for this Fijian Sevens side. And I would not be surprised if someone from France or a team from Japan or somewhere picks this man up in the near future, because he just seems like he knows how to score tries. But do, of course, let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen. We are only sitting maybe about a minute away from the kickoff in this contest. It could easily go either way. And these two sides, they're physical, they're fast, they're aggressive, they're attacking minded, and it's just going to be an incredible final played in the hot Perth sun. Go Fiji, go, says it was Vatiseva. Is the League 9 still going, or did it die a quiet death? I don't think it's still going, unfortunately. But it was a good tournament to watch back in the day. Nick Hogan is going to be the referee in charge of this one. It is his 8th cup final. He's been in charge of quite a few of the games in that group involving South Africa and Fiji. I'm so annoyed that SuperSport Bet is not showing this. But I would have made money because Fiji will win, says Kwandile. And who wants to know how to get better sleep? Says Bruce. Well, it certainly isn't watch sevens. I can tell you that right now, because these games keep you wide awake. I learned that yesterday when we ended up doing a 24-hour pretty much marathon of being awake watching sport. But the ball is going to be passed into the middle. It looks like Fiji are going to lift up the young child into the sky just like they always do. She holds the ball up in the air. It's a big moment for her, but in the Perth Sevens, of course, we know what Fiji can do. They have had times in the past where they have gone on and managed to get themselves victories. They weren't in the final last year, though. That was Australia versus Argentina. But now we're ready to go. This game has been one to be nervous for the whole couple of hours since it's been announced. They have already played in this competition. The win for Fiji, 20 points to 14. They missed 4 kicks in that game, but opened up their contest up against New Zealand today, 35-0. So they are in form. Australia defeated by the South Africans by a decent margin too. South Africa not missing their kicks. This one could be a right battle out there, but we are now underway in this contest, the final of the Perth Sevens. Fiji to kick off from right to left, and we are underway for this matchup. Nicely taken by Sebastian Yob, and already the attack of the Blitzboks is starting to get some forward momentum, moving into the half of Fiji. Passed on the outside, the early drop from Tristan Lades. Had he hung on to that one, there was space on the outside. Oosthuizen in support too, but just couldn't quite bring it in to catch it. It will be the scrum feed now for the Fijians, about 40 metres out from their own try line. Go South Africa, says Martin. Has there ever been a pointless final played out? Not that I know of. We've seen some relatively low-scoring ones, but normally what happens is it's a low-scoring first half, and then everyone scores in the second half. Now, we know that South Africa are quick to start in some of their contests, and we also know that Fiji are very good late in a game. So it's a bit of a seesaw here between these two sides. Is this the final? It certainly is. Whoever wins this wins the Perth Sevens. And currently Fiji, they are in possession. Here is Bongi Nasoko. Bumps off one. Offloads on the outside out to Vuiviwa Nadovalo. He still sits as the number one try scorer on the Sevens series for this season. Now, close behind him is Jeremy Trevor Thick, the Spanish international. Matana tackled 40 metres out from their own line. Fiji looking for that next gap. The Blitzboks not too often concede more than 2 tries in a game of sevens. That one's ripped away. David Britz taking it back for the Blitzboks. Passed on the inside to Ryan Oosthuizen. And it will be the try for South Africa early on in this final. 90 seconds in. And they strike first in this game. But once again, it's very hard to judge what Fiji will do in the second half, but that was a big mistake going for the wide cutout pass. It was cleaned up by David Britz, who took it cleanly, and not just that, then found his next offload into the hands of his teammate Tristan Lades. That leads to try number 1 of this final. There was a rugby league game finished 0-0 at full time, 1-1-0 in sudden death. Drop goal was a fantastic game, set starts race. That one's going to be kicked high, and the conversion is over from South Africa. That is a fantastic kick so far throughout this competition. South Africa have only missed 2 kicks at the posts. And, that makes it even that much more impressive when you realise they probably had about 14 kicks at the posts throughout this competition. Aleka says Rick there. Now this is going to be intense, says Jason, and Fiji now in possession just out from their own goal line. Missed tackle there from Zane David. Ricardo James Awate finishes it off. Here comes Seven Muthanathangi showing his pace before he is tackled by Brits. He's having quite the final thus far. George Balsi away to the left-hand side. Taria Vailawa. 4 minutes left in this first half. Quick little double step there from Bongi Nasoko. Now Ioane Timber almost going through once more. Ryan Oosthuizen forces the ball out of the breakdown. Brilliant work from the Springboks veteran. Well, the Blitzboks veteran, I should say. Now Ricardo James Awate offloads it to Zane Davids. Doesn't quite have the pace that he wishes that he does, but he's going to get driven sideways by Tario Vailawa. That was the case of the biggest player on the field getting tackled by the smallest. Short side, Schutten van Wyk. Now drawing past Sebastian Job on the outside. It's another try for the Blitzboks. They are on fire early on in Perth. 2 in a row. And Sebastian Job gets himself his 3rd try in finals playoffs. Just in Perth. Should be an easy enough kick as well to be able to slot it over. 12 points to 0 the way that it sits at the moment. And we'll update that one as well. There we go. 14 points to 0 the start and a half from South Africa. South Africa to win, says Flan. And go Fiji go, says Kamanelli. As yes, South Africa give it, says Martin. Sebastian Job again runs around the outside. And straight out in front of the post for Ricardo James Duarte. He adds the additional 2. 5 minutes into this final, and it is 14-0 for South Africa. Fiji have not been able to really get out of their own half. And nice, they need to be up by that at halftime, says Please and Tease. Come on, our brothers Fiji, and come on, boys, good start, says Jason. Ball goes high, nice take from Seven Muthanathangi. Tackled just outside of his 22. George Balsi now back across. South Africa very strategic in the way they're defending. They hold off nicely and then accelerate to try and cut down that angle, having to work hard to keep that ball on their side. George Balsi, he almost goes into touch with Ricardo James Duarte, but it just keep him. South Africa trying to go for that turnover in the breakdown. That's an offside from Ricardo James Duarte. A silly penalty to give away from the Blitzboks number 5. As it gives Fiji a little bit of a reprieve from inside of their 22. And Bok Rugby is the power of World Rugby, says Martin. And go Fiji go, says Cindy. And there as well, nice step there from Tario Vailawa. Now passes across to the short side. Fiji cutting back in with Ricardo James Duarte, looking for the turnover in the breakdown yet again. George Balsi back across. They can't get out of there. 22. There it is. The big run there from Te Reo Vailawa. But again, it's the scramble defence of Shilton Van Wyk, who managed to just about catch the Fijian on the halfway line. George Balsi now. Seems like Fiji at the moment, they haven't quite run out of moves, but they are certainly starting to question what they have to do to be able to score the try. And the answer is simple. Give it to Vuiviwa Natovalo. And he scores the first try of the final for Fiji. How often have we seen this side concede twice off the get-go and then come back into a game by halftime? But it is Vuiviwa Natovalo. He is the number one try scorer on the series for that very reason. He finds ways of creating chances. Absolutely fantastic, says JD. Got the Blitzboks. Says never win there. Just showing off that pace for Vuiviwa Natovalo. And now 14 points to 5. I did add the additional 2, although this might be a relatively difficult kick here for Fiji, although they've been striking them well throughout the competition. That one has missed away to the side though, so 14-7, the way that the game sits. He's setting 26 series tries now for Vuiviwa Natovalo. The most for any South African is Shilton Van Wyk with half as many and 13. Blitzboks all the way. We taking this one. Says Malu play. And also Tosavetti from New Zealand. Says Sheik there. Going to be kicked off now by the Fijians. 5 seconds remaining on the clock restart. Going up and slapping that ball back. David Brits waits for the bounce of the ball. That's picked up by Fiji. And again, they're on attack. George Balsi with the short pass. Sevon Mothanotangi. The no-look pass across to the side. Well taken by Bungina Soko. It's driven down by Saviwe Sawyers Wapi. That's an early change made by the South African team. Jeremiah Matana cutting back inwards. Driven sideways by Rhino Stahazen. Thought about going for the turnover, but he realised that his head was on the ground. So he wasn't going to be able to grab at that ball. Half-time on the verge of taking place. We hear the siren now, but Fiji still on the attack. 25 metres out from the Blitzboks line. And scoreboard at the moment, the score is 5-14 in this contest. Oh, bouncing pass, goes straight to Fiji again. Here's Bongina Soko, wrestled down, hands went down first from Shilton. That was from Saviwe Sawyers Wapi. Penalty awarded to Fiji. George Balsi takes the quick tap. Oh no, wasn't on the mark. Okay, Ricardo James Wate was complaining, saying that he wasn't on the mark, which is exactly why that wasn't a knock on. Now going off to the left-hand side. Te Reo Vailawa, ball on the inside to Jeremiah Matana. And Fiji, just like once again, every single game that they have been in that they're down, they get back into it by halftime. And the score now 14 points to 10. And that was some energy-sapping defence for the South Africans. Phase after phase from Fiji, attacking the line. And now we're going almost level at halftime. This has been a final and a half in Perth, ladies and gentlemen. And the thing that makes it that much more impressive is the fact they're playing in about 40 degrees Celsius heat for this game. Sky 1 New Zealand was killing every air break with a repeat. A player of the AB Sevens beating the Blitzboks, says one Pierre Bosch. And Box looking a little tired here. I really need a long halftime, says Studs Race. And it looks like Fiji are strategically using up their seconds as well, that they're allowed to while taking the kick at the post. But that is going to be a halftime now, ladies and gentlemen. 14 points to 12. Still can easily go either way. I believe my in-score prediction that I went with was 21-19 in favour of South Africa. So that can still happen if both of these sides were able to score in the second half. Go Fiji, says Jim there. And conversions might be the decider, says Jason. And also love South African rugby, says Martin. And go Fiji, says Cindy. And there too. But what a start to this game for these two sides. It has been grueling in terms of the tempo and the pace that they have been trying to play this game at. And again, just the heat. The factor that maybe is a little bit underestimated from watching this game. 13 tackles made by South Africa compared to the 1 tackle made by Fiji. That can make a huge difference in terms of fatigue. Fiji have been flawless when it comes to the penalties conceded. They have conceded 0, whereas South Africa, they have conceded 2 throughout this contest. If any sort of yellow card is awarded throughout the second half, that could be the game changer. And great game, says Martin. Yeah, it's been back and forth. Exactly what you would expect when these two sides played. And once again, I'm going to show it. What has been happening the last few times these two sides have played. The last 3 have been separated by 7 or less. 20 points to 14 to Fiji. 21 to 19 to Fiji. And 24 to 21 to Fiji. These are the type of scores that you expect now when these two sides go face to face, and we are getting a game just like it here. Halftime, 14 points to 12, with it all on the line for the second 7 minutes. Now let's go Fiji, says Anthony. And also South Africa power and speed, says Martin there. Many thanks, Kiwi lads. No worries at all. Anyone who is new, I should mention, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more coming up in the near future. Still 2 more regular legs of the Sevens alongside the championship. Next week, we've got more Sevens on the channel. We're going to be calling the Kenyans, who are back in action, as well as the South African women, who are another side that do get to take part next week. I believe the Blitzboks give it to us. Nice South Africa, you're still top of the world, win or lose, says Thomas. And Toso Viti Toso says Sarah there. And now we're ready to go for the second 7 minutes of this contest. Both of these sides are dealing with the sun right in their eyes in Perth. HBF Park, though, it's been quite the atmosphere. Even with the heat, people have been dressing up in their costumes out there on the field to enjoy, well, not on the field, but next to the field to enjoy the action that we've been witnessing. But kicked off by Tristan Lays to get us underway for the second half, Fiji. Of course, any little mistake now from either of these sides could be the difference maker, but the Fijians in possession. George Bose goes across to the left-hand side, finds a Vuevewa, Nado Valo, he risks it all, going short side there almost, ended up getting driven into touch. Ball is available for Bose, back across to the right, finds Seven Mothanothangi now, Ioane Timba. Being an underappreciated part of this Fijian team. That's a huge fan from Te Reo Vailawa. It's going to be a race between him and Safue Soyas Wapi, and it will be the foot race that is won by the Fijian. Te Reo Vailawa has scored between the posts, and that will give Fiji from 14-0 down to 19-14 up in this contest in quick succession. All 3 of Fiji's tries have been scored within the last 3 minutes of this matchup, or maybe 4 minutes in fact. Just shows how dangerous they can be. Gas to the line while set studs raise. Yeah, pure pace from Te Reo Vailawa up against one of the more fresh players out there on the field, Safue Soyas Wapi. He was one of the subs who came on the field for the Blitzboks, but still couldn't quite catch up with the Flying Fijian. Makes this game very intriguing now. That kick has gone over from Fiji. 5.5 minutes remaining. Looks like Te Reo Vailawa, he's holding his hand here. Has he hurt himself? If he makes his way off the field, that is a massive game-changing moment for this Fiji side, although they do still have Filipo Bukayaro as the replacement for him. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, though. That one hasn't gone the 10. Taken by Tristan Lake. Now sells the dummy. Fiji may regret not just grabbing that one and going back to the halfway line. South Africa now on attack. Shilton Van Wyk, he'll be waiting for this ball on the outside. We know how much pace he's got now. It's in his hands. Chance to run it wide. Missed tackle there from Fiji, but it was just enough to slow him down. And the tackle attempt from Jeremiah Matana. Directional change from Nakara James Wate. Quick hands from Safue Soyas Wapi. Ball ripped out of his hands. Back there for Shilton Van Wyk again. Dealing with the heat now, South Africa. This will be a welcome change, though, from when they were defending at the end of the first half. Ryan Oosthuizen cutting back, and oh, wow, he's knocked a Fijian out. That looks concerning for Fiji as one of their players is out cold, and Ryan Oosthuizen flatters them and scores the try for South Africa. That is a statement run right there, but one of the Fijians, I think it might have been Te Reo Vailawa, who attempted the tackle, and he's gone to sleep there. Was it Te Reo Vailawa, though? Or was it Vuevewa Nadovalo? Whoever it was, he was asleep when that try was scored. And I think that is going to be quite a significant blow to this Fijian team. Ryan Oosthuizen making the score now 19-19. Still time left in this contest. Another 4 minutes remaining, and they are now just assessing this Fijian player. I think they're calling for a stretcher here. This is a big concern in back play. The only benefit that it gives these two teams is the fact that they will get a bit of a stoppage to be able to rest, recover, and regain their stamina for the final 4 minutes of what will be an extremely physical finish to this Perth final. Getting ready to take this kick. They are just showing after 3 rounds, Fiji were at the top of the bunch with 52. I also do see that Donovan Don has made his way onto the field for the Blitzboks, or at least he is running the water. What a description of the player down, gone to sleep. Says Rishin, yeah, he is still down at the moment. So not a good sign for the Fijians. So Bukayaro is out on the field now. And so is Manueli Mai-Samoa. So I'm not actually 100% sure if it's Tario Vailawa or Vuiviwa Nadovalo who has been the player knocked out. And go Fiji, go boys, says Cindy. And there too. But I believe South Africa, they still have the kick at the post that they can go for here. They are just waiting until the player is out of the way to the side. What a game, says Jason there. Yeah, it's been extremely physical between these two teams. Back and forth, some brilliant tries being scored. Got the Fijian flags from Mr. Fiji in there too. And grand final, says Martin. Yeah, it is a game that has certainly lived up to the fact that it is the final, as it's going on to be one of the best games of the whole competition. Shania Chanda said Tosa Vititoso. And go the box, says Lorenzo. And there as well. They are just showing a few of the people in the stands absolutely loving the action. They're just showing the points that sides get. First place gets 20. Second place actually gets 18 rather than the 16. Third place 16. Fourth place 14 in terms of the overall points. And we got the South African flags from Luddy there as well. South Africa still have a chance. They absolutely do. If they get this kick over, they would take the lead in this final. So there is no way whatsoever that South Africa can be ruled out of this game at the moment. How often do you stumble over those Fijian names, says Stefan? Not as much as I used to. And sometimes it's more so that I'm just trying to say them too quick and forget to let my brain have a chance to catch up. But did I just catch Tani Vanua Kula out there on the field for the Fijians? I think they may have made multiple changes all at the same stage here, Fiji. But there is still that concern around the ground at the moment for the player who has stayed down. And go Fiji go, says Primala Singh. And Connor's got the finger-biting ones by the looks of it, all the hiding the eyes emoji. They're just showing the highlights of the women's game as well, New Zealand versus Australia. That is the game that did just take place. New Zealand were able to get themselves the gold medal. This is the way that the table sits for the men's, ladies and gentlemen. So if Fiji were to win this match, they would move up to 72 points. South Africa would progress themselves up and get themselves 74. But, in fact, no, sorry, it would be 64 rather than the 74. But then if they were able to win this one, they move up to 66 and Fiji would be on 70. So closing that gap that little bit more, no matter what from this game, I believe South Africa will be sitting ahead of New Zealand. And that is due to the Kiwis finishing fourth in the overall standings rather than the third. We got Tosa Vititoso, now abiding final. For anyone wondering why we aren't talking about the game just for now as well, it is because of the fact that there is a player that got knocked out for Fiji in that try-scoring process of Ryan Oosterhuizen getting himself that try. So because of that, they are just making sure that he's all right. More than likely going to either stretcher him off the field or wait until he comes to and then take him off. How did the Fijian player get knocked out? It was just in the process of trying to make the tackle on Ryan Oosterhuizen. Just pretty much dropped the shoulder into him. And I think he may have caught the hip of Ryan Oosterhuizen, but he was knocked out before he even hit the ground. That's how hard of a collision it was. And this is the biggest rivalry in Rugby Sevens. Yeah, I do think that at the moment on the Seven Circuit, these are the best two teams. And I know that up till this stage, the table has said slightly otherwise. But I think for consistency's sake, it has been Fiji and South Africa doing extremely well throughout the whole of the Sevens year. I think we're seeing the replay of all of the tries at the moment. So we will actually get to see exactly who the player was who got knocked out. I know that it was either Tario Vailawa or Vuiviwa Nadovalo. But I'm not sure which one ended up suffering that head knock in the end. And go Fiji go, says Mohammed. And then thanks for the commentary, my friend, catching at the end of my lunch break. Please subscribe and like button to help the channel, says Josie. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. They're just showing all the highlights of the tries that we've had this far in the game. There have been 6. Right, we're just seeing the replay now. Okay, no. So Vuiviwa Nadovalo was the player who got knocked out. It wasn't the hip, it was actually the back spinning elbow from Ryan Oosterhuizen as he changed directions, caught him on a chin, and yeah, Vuiviwa Nadovalo, the player, stretched it off the field now. He has been an impact player and a half. He's already scored in this final. So what kind of impact will that have on this Fijian side? But we've just had a 5-minute stoppage as well, which now means that both of these sides are going to be extremely fresh for the final 4 minutes. But a kick to come for Ricardo James Duarte. This to take the lead in the Perth Sevens final. Now, kicking this one. He's got the distance. He's got the accuracy. And South Africa now leading in this contest. 21 points to 19 over Fiji. It's been a flawless day off the kicking tee for Ricardo James Duarte. He's sitting at 100%. And he gives the crowd a shush as well after scoring it. And now it's going to be kicked off long by South Africa, nicely taken near the touchline. Oh, Ryan Oosthuizen almost washing him into touch, and it's taken by Christy Robela. Brilliant work from the Blitzboks to give themselves another attacking chance here. 4 minutes remaining on the clock. Shilton Van Wyk going back across to the right-hand side. Wasn't the best pass to Tristan Lades, but he's managed to gather it nicely. Now running down the wing, trying to get round Boina Soko. Donovan Don plays half. Cross to Shilton Van Wyk. If they score right now, South Africa, they may just about become Perth champions. Steep bouncing ball. Christy Robela had no forward momentum as he was tackled from Ioane Timba. But they're on the attack at the moment for the South Africans. Little pop pass from Donovan Don goes to Saviwa Soyas Wapi. Tackled low by George Balsi. Counter ruck from Fiji illegally, says Nick Hogan. And it will be the penalty now for South Africa. Defence Fiji, says Mr. Fiji Butty. Your score prediction, believe it or not, and we might have to get confirmation on this. This was my score prediction. I said 21-19 in favour of South Africa. We released our preview for this game about an hour and a half before it was taking place, and this is the exact scoreline that I went with. Now, anyone who knows what happened last week knows that I had the exact score right for the final up until Fiji scored that last-minute try up against the French to mean that I was wrong. So I'm still expecting another try from one of these two teams, because more than likely that would mean that I'm wrong for this one too. But I've been getting pretty close in the finals, which has been, I'll be honest, I'm quite impressed, because normally I'm a mile off with predictions. Now, ball's going to be fed in by Ricardo James Duarte. One more try here for South Africa due to that extra conversion that they were able to get over would put them in a very good position to go on to win this game. Ricardo James Duarte back across to Christy Robela. Now goes across to Saviwa Soyas Wapi. He has Van Wyk with him. Man on the outside. Donovan Don, little juggle with the ball. He's going to be very close to scoring it. They'll check his feet as he may have just touched the sideline. But that was a very strong bit of finishing from Donovan Don if he stayed in the field of play. Time left, says Martin at the moment. 2 minutes remaining. Has Don stayed in? He's still in. Oh, he's out. He just touches the sideline for Donovan Don, but it's going to be a 5 metre line out for Fiji, just out from their own try line, so that's not going to make it too easy here. So we have a bit more work to do to be able to get down the field. Don't jinx us now, bro, says Jason. And Tosso Vetitoso says Mr. Fiji. And that line there says JD and Blitzboks look good for a while. They absolutely have. They had a couple shaky games earlier on in the Seven Circuit, but outside of that, they've been extremely well. Arama, I should say, as you can't hear anything, you've got to turn your volume up. Now, chance here, 5 metres out from the line. Big line out throw, taken at the back for Fiji. Well done by Jeremiah Matana. Looking for the steal and the breakdown. Christy Robela, he almost had his hands on that one, but he's told to let go of it. Now Fiji looking to attack this one from just out from their own goal line. They're looking for the line break. George Balsi goes across to Manueli Maisamo. Geez, that's some good acceleration. He has just fended himself. Now crossfield defence from South Africa, wrestling down the Fijian just outside of the 22. 2 minutes remaining on the clock now. Fiji looking to fire back and get into the lead. Jeremiah Matana breaks through one. In fact, that time it was Tani Vanuakula. Pulls there once more. Saviwa Soyas Wapi looking for the steal and the breakdown. Can't quite get it. Is there a rugby player called Tavatava? There is a man called Timothy Tavatava Nawai making his return for the Highlanders this year. Manueli Maisamoa looking for the offload. Gives it off to Bongina Soko. Taken by Shilton Van Wyk. To be very careful here, South Africa. They do not want to give away any penalties at this stage of the contest. 90 seconds remaining. Fiji still on the attack. Just out from their 22. Jeremiah Matana back across. Anyone who drops the ball now could cost their side the game. Manueli Maisamoa passes back across. Balsi has the man on the outside. It's going to become a foot race here. And there is pure pace here from Bongina Soko. But what a brilliant tackle that is from the youngster off the bench. And that is none other than Luan Gulumi, who makes that tackle. A bit of face-to-face here. Fiji may have just gotten this one upgraded to a penalty now. I think Nick Hogan's going to have a bit of a look at this. But that is outstanding defence from a young man in Guilherme, who's only had a couple tournaments, but he has got lightning quick feet and manages to drag Bongina Soko into touch to save the try. Tristan Lades gets fended off there. And there is a chance that this might become a penalty against Fiji, or at least it would have if it was New Zealand versus Australia. Okay. Okay, the referee couldn't quite decide what he wanted to do there. Touch judge said he recommends that it's just a line out. Then referee said, do you recommend it's just a line out or do you recommend it becomes a penalty? And touch judge then changed his mind and said it becomes a penalty. So penalty against Fiji for push and shove after that ball had gone in touch. Like I said, we've seen that given all throughout the Sevens tournament, but it is the worst possible time to do it with 50 seconds remaining on the clock. Now the game is done, says Martin. It is very close to it. 13 minutes down in this matchup. Once again, I'm getting a little bit nervous because once the preview, you guys can check it out afterwards. We said 21-19 to South Africa in the score for the end of this game. And again, we're going to be within a minute of getting it right, but once again, it's probably going to have a last-minute try that ruins that. What a defense from the boy. Yeah, I think he's only like 20 years of age for Guillaume. Just like Kiwi men there. Macho nonsense is costing them, says Rugby ready. And 24-21 Fiji, says go pal. So you're going one more try for the Fijians in this contest. For them to be able to do so, they will need to make sure that they get a crucial steal. Now Luang Guillaume feeds the ball in for the Blitzboks. Fiji have to force a turnover here if they go on to win this game. Ball on the inside. Guillaume now showing that pace that he just showed off, chasing down the defence, looking for the steal and the breakdown. The penalty goes the way of the South Africans. Again, I almost lost my voice there. But 20 seconds now on the clock. I believe South Africa will go for the scrum. Yes, they do. There will be 10 seconds remaining on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. And all they have to do is get this ball in, get it out the back, and kick it into touch. And that would be the victory for South Africa. They would be able to get it in Perth. They weren't even in this final last year. Neither were Fiji. But now a big chance for South Africa to make a bit of history at the Perth Sevens in front of a crowd dealing with 40-degree heat. The last scrum of the day. Guillaume puts the ball in. All they need is this one to come out the back. It's the penalty to South Africa. So now all they need to do is take the tap. Okay, referee has just said that South Africa need to clear the area. Quick tap's going to be taken here. Tristan Lades takes the tap, kicks the ball into touch, and just like that, that is the end of the game. South Africa win by a conversion up against this Fijian side in Perth. 1 second, we'll go like that. We'll get full time up on the screen as well, just like that. But it is an exhausting type of final that we've just witnessed between these two sides, ladies and gentlemen, both digging deep throughout the match. But in the end, South Africa just hanging on and managing to finish this one off. Thanks for the commentary, Hamish. Says Rugby ready. 21-19. You nailed the prediction. I know. It's really weird. Because last week we were one try away. This week, bang on the money. And we're going to have to show it just so that people do believe that I actually did predict it. Now, I will mention this video that I'm going to be showing, ladies and gents, just a little bit later on. It came out 2 hours ago. Okay, so it wasn't one that I've done some sort of trickery where I give a prediction later on after the game has taken place. But it is a big win right there for the South Africans. They have had to dig deep throughout this tournament, and we have to remember they were beaten by Fiji in the group stage. They came back to beat them in the final, we believe. Yeah, Hamish, yes, Hamish victory lap, and go Fiji go, says Cindy there. And thank you for your commentaries. No worries at all. Once again, we are back next week with more of the Sevens. These sides will not be in action, but the female side for the South Africans will be. But then also, it's the likes of Kenya. They are going to be playing in the upcoming matches. You've got Canada for the men, Germany, Belgium, all those type of sides that are no longer on the Sevens circuit or were never on there. Someone like a USA wanting to make up that ground and get back into a top seeding spot. 1 second, we'll go like this, and we'll put that there. But yeah, massive, massive win. I thank you, Hamish. Next prediction says Tasneem. Yeah, see, the problem now is I've got a prediction right. So people will start to think that I'm actually good at predictions. I am nowhere near good at predictions, ladies and gentlemen. I have just got very lucky once or twice in a row. We'll go like this. We'll go like that. Hang on, I'll wait till the ad is finished so that you guys don't have to deal with any sort of ad to watch. I'm sure you get enough of them on these streams anyway. Any news about the player with the head injury? Nothing else that I've heard from Voiviwa Nadovalo in terms of what the outcome is. I'm not actually too sure whether or not he's back up on his feet or anything like that. Right, you're going to have to listen to me be the second Hamish for a second. That's me. Put them in a very good position to keep on adding those additional twos. To be fair, they did in this game. How do I make me a little bit bigger? There we go. So that's little me. I'm big me. This is me now. That is me doing the preview. So we're going to skip forward a little bit further, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if you guys can't hear it as well. Close game, but maybe, just maybe this time, it will actually be South Africa who managed to get the victory. So I'm going 21-19. 21-19 to South Africa. Exactly the right score. The reason I'm celebrating it so much is because I'm never going to get a scoreline correct like this again. Definitely not in sevens. Like, it's impossible to predict a sevens game. Sometimes I just think of random numbers. But literally almost 2 weeks in a row got it bang on. Last week it was only due to a last minute try 30 seconds after full time that we got that one wrong. But once again, it will actually be South Africa who managed to get the victory. So I'm going 21-19 in favour of the Blitzboks. I'm having it that the kicking tee is the only difference. They don't even have a kicking tee. He's just talking rubbish. And Hamish, you are the Oracle, says Suckabulla. And also, is that, if that is you, then who are you? Says Sock. Cheating, says Wema. And once again, I'm just going to, I assume if I close this, you guys can still see. Yes, you can. So pretty much, as you can see, 2 hours ago. So that was not some sort of trickery. This happened a while ago. You got to be kidding, Hamish. Makes up for last week. You got to put your lotto ticket in, bro. No, but I feel like I've just used up the whole luck of my whole life on that call. You were spot on, so give me the lotto numbers so that I can ensure the winnings towards Rugby World Cup 2027. And you must play the lotto now. Well done, your prediction spot on. Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't happen ever on the channel. And normally the risk is going exact numbers rather than just going like South Africa by 2. Like, that would have been much easier. Ranking update, says Roger. 1 second, we'll get that up. And in the very near future, you guys are probably sick of seeing mini-me up here on the screen. I've never seen a reaction channel react to his own channel. Yeah, it's a bit of a unique one. But I feel like in this case it is warranted. Only because of the fact that the prediction was actually somehow right. But the rankings at the moment, the standings as they sit, Fiji are sitting on 70 points. South Africa are sitting on 66. New Zealand on 62. So that is the top 3 for the men's. Then it is then it is France and Australia on 54 each. Then Argentina, then Spain, then Great Britain. Hamish, this is weird. You're reacting to your own channel and Black Cat somehow beating Afghanistan with the best bowling lineup. And also, brother, hang on, you'll get your update, says Hellcop. And there too. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, it still looks weird that that's me next to me. I need to close that tab. How do I do that? 1 second. There we go. We'll go like that. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. The end score in this game, 21 points to 19 in favour of the South Africans. So they managed to sneak it in the end. But thank you all very much for watching. I will see you all for the next one.